The skill of a great commentator of a live sporting event is to anticipate, relate, and motivate to the viewer the historic and heroic feats happening in real time. This skill is a gift because they bring to life split-second decisions and the excitement of the moment, so that every time that you're reminded of that great moment, you hear that commentator's voice in your head for years afterwards. Greg Lewis is that commentator. As voice of the World Pro Ski Tour, multiple Olympics, and countless sporting events, Greg's voice has enhanced action at magnified moments. And the magic sauce was not only his knowledge, intel, and research, but the delivery of a well-timed comment, question, and the remarks that pulled both the interviewee and the audience closer together. Joe J. Gelbert said of Greg Lewis, his commentary was seamless. His words were like music, played to the drama, the achievement, and the importance of the moment. Then, as if for dessert, he would swoop in for the interview, ask the questions that brought out the emotions of defeat or victory, insight and the intensity of the sport, all as if he was the athlete's best friend. And in many cases, Lewis was the athlete's or celebrity's friend. Over decades of his career, his relationships with the world's best allowed him to interview countless legends, drawing out the comments and quotes that us, the viewers, were longing to hear. His strong, calm voice was synergistic, and it brought the action on television, films, and in videos to life. It was often said that his narration painted a picture that only the mind's eye could see. Greg Lewis is a master storyteller who brought to life some of the greatest winter sports events and moments in history. And I'm sure the late, great Bob Beatty, honored member of the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame, his boss, mentor, and fellow Middlebury College alum, is with us here tonight, cheering him on. Sit back and saturate yourself in this.
You know, skiing anywhere is great, like the slopes here of Aspen, Colorado. What could be better than making perfect turns on the packed powder of the Colorado Rockies? But then I discovered Mike Wiggly helicopter skiing and learned that paradise is fluffy white. Whoa, baby.
Greg Lewis made his mark in many ways over a career spanning half a century, where he became known as a broadcaster, producer, and humanitarian. His career in skiing began as a ski instructor and patroller in Aspen, but it made a big turn in 1972 when Bob Beatty hired him to do PR for the rapidly growing World Pro Skiing Tour.
They come off the final bump. It looks like Ogier has a little lead.
His unique play-by-play style quickly caught on.
Gets back in just in time.
His next big opportunity came in 1977 when NBC had him commentate on a pro race for its new Sports World show.
To the finish line. Kaiser, he's the new leader, 205.33.
Hello everyone, I'm Greg Lewis, along with former U.S. Olympic freestyle coach Park Smalley.
He soon became a fixture as a sports broadcaster with NBC, CBS, ESPN, Turner Sports, and more, covering 7 Olympic Games, World Cup ski racing, and many other international events.
Donna Weinbrecht, will she be wrapped in gold when she reaches the finish line? What will she do on the second air? How does she look in the bump? Big air! We'll see how big the score is for Donna Weinbrecht.
Lewis's versatility landed him at alpine, freestyle, jumping, cross country, and speed skiing events.
Hello everyone, I'm Greg Lewis. Welcome to the top of the in-run here on the speed skiing track at Les Arcs. If the view doesn't take your breath away, think about this. The athletes who start here and go down this 70-degree in-run will reach the village below, 2,000 feet below, in less than 20 seconds.
His skillful writing and production work earned him 2 Emmy Awards. He took his vast network of influence to create the AT&T Skiing Award, presented annually to such greats as Stein Eriksen and Franz Klaumann. In the early 90s, Lewis teamed up with Olympic medalist Kristen Cooper to form Spirit of Hope, promoting peace during the Bosnian War, delivering sports equipment to war-torn Sarajevo. In 2015, the International Skiing History Association honored Lewis with a Lifetime Achievement Award for his decades of contribution to the sport. For his remarkable career in broadcast and for being an innovator in telling the story of skiing, Greg Lewis is inducted into the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame.
Million skiers and snowboarders in America, we hereby bestow on you, here in the Olympic Village of Lake Placid, our country's highest snow sports award, the Hall of Fame Medal of Honor, and confer upon you, from this day forward, induction into the U.S. Ski and Snowboard Hall of Fame, where your accomplishments will forever be remembered.
That's my girlfriend for life and my granddaughter. Thank you, Dan, for your generous words. Thank you, Justin, for your leadership. You and your team invested an entire year so that we can enjoy this one evening. And I say bravo, job well done. Congratulations to all the inductees this evening. Thank you to all in attendance. You have traveled long distances to celebrate with us in this hallowed venue. And thank you to my friends and family. I am warmed by your love. I am smiling in my heart, and I am also laughing in my soul. C.J. Mueller is at my table. He was inducted into the Hall a couple of years ago for his achievements as a speed skier. When C.J. slid to a stop, after setting a world record, his fastest time ever was 137 miles per hour. A woman journalist rushed out to him breathlessly. She said, "I've never seen anything like that. The danger, the risk. How do you possibly deal with the risk?" And he said, "Risk? No. I have friends who are married." Warren Miller, the great filmmaker and skiing's first ambassador, said, "You never forget your first day on skis." My first day was almost 70 years ago to the day, March 1955, in a then tumble-down silver mining town called Aspen. I was 7, and I fell in love with skiing. It's been the longest love affair of my life. Unfortunately, not the most expensive one. At age 11, I started racing. I was great at starting. Finishing, however, was not so easy for me. During my illustrious racing career, I won only one event, I have the trophy here. I brought it up on stage earlier because it's quite large and heavy. I'd like to share it with you. My mother thought about wearing it as a charm on her charm bracelet, but she said it was too small. During my illustrious, I've already said that. You'd think I was a professional at this. My ski racing career continued into my freshman year at Middlebury College, where Coach Bo Sheehan, who had been the head coach for the U.S. ski team at the 1956 Cortina Olympics, invited me to try out for the Middlebury team. That tryout earned me a starting position on my fraternity intramural hockey team as the goalie. I thought my involvement in ski racing was over, but in the fall of 1972, another Middlebury alum, Bob Beatty, hired me to be the head of communications for the World Pro Skiing Tour, featuring that year Jean-Claude Keeley and Spider Savage. My job included announcing the head-to-head races, more than 10,000 matchups over 5 years. And then out of the blue, NBC Sports contacted me and asked if I'd be interested in announcing a pro ski race. Eagerly, I said yes. And nervously, while walking up a mountainside to do my first network television on camera, I puked twice. That was my auspicious beginning in television. But for some reason, the producer liked me and asked what other sports did I know. And I said I would know whatever NBC wanted me to know. And I worked for the network for 25 years. And along the way, hosted some shows for CBS, ESPN, HBO, Turner, Jalbert Productions, and GGP. My Winter Olympic involvement included Sarajevo, Albertville, Calgary, Lillehammer, Nagano, and Salt Lake. I have a few special memories I'd like to share. When I was 15, I got to take a run with Buddy Werner at Winter Park. He was my only sports hero ever. He was my Mickey Mantle, and Johnny Unitas rolled into one. I remember every turn following behind America's preeminent ski racer, and I remember the day he died, caught in an avalanche while filming a ski movie. I thought Buddy was immortal, but I learned that even heroes die, too often, too young. Buddy Werner was 28. During my broadcasting career, I was so fortunate to work with exceptional people: Kristen Cooper, Andy Mill, Cindy Nelson, Hillary Lind, Hank Cashua, Franz Klammer, Peter Graves, and someone I love, Park Smalley. I could not have done better or had better commentators, and I learned so much from them. In Sarajevo in 1984, I worked for Jalbert Productions as a producer of the International Olympic Committee's official film. My job was to interview as many gold medalists as possible in all sports after their victory in Sarajevo, and that included gold and silver for Phil and Steve Mayer, gold and silver for Debbie Armstrong and Kristen Cooper, and gold for Billy Johnson. What a privilege to announce the greatest Winter Olympics for American ski racers ever. One decade later, Kristen and I returned to Sarajevo during the Bosnian War on a humanitarian mission. The historic and beautiful Olympic city of Sarajevo was pockmarked from artillery fire. Grave sites filled the once open spaces surrounding the Olympic Stadium. Peace is as beautiful and fragile as a rose. War is insufferably brutal and ugly. Those images of war-torn Sarajevo are scars on my eyes that will never fade. Sport must always be an ambassador of peace. During my career, I learned that every great athlete has a compelling backstory that propels their success. I remember visiting Franz Klammer's childhood home, a meager 6-cow dairy farm in Mooswald, Austria. I met his mother and his brother Klaus, who was paralyzed from the waist down from a fall in a junior downhill. Franz told me his father had been conscripted into the Nazi army, and because he was not a Nazi sympathizer, he was sent to the Russian front, where he was captured and imprisoned for several years. When my father returned home, he was a broken man, Franz said. I never saw him laugh or even smile. Never. I promised myself I would live a fun life, an exciting life. Franz Klammer kept his promise and enriched all of us with the sense that thrilled the world, and his smile can light the night. I remember when Phil Mayer suffered a horrific ankle fracture in the 1979 pre-Olympic giant slalom right here in Lake Placid. Renowned orthopedist Dr. Richard Stedman performed surgery. At a press conference afterward, he explained it was a complex fracture that required a metal plate and 7 screws. A journalist asked, "Will Phil be able to ski with so many screws in?" Dr. Stedman replied, "Yes, Phil will be able to screw with his skis on." I remember when France's Jean-Claude Keely won 3 gold medals in the 1968 Olympics in Grenoble. At a World Cup event a few weeks earlier, Keely had lunch with the super agent Mark McCormick, who had come to Europe to sign Keely as a client. Jean-Claude ordered a glass of wine at lunch. It made McCormick so uneasy, he said, "Jean-Claude, I know you're the greatest ski racer of all time, but this is a World Cup weekend and you're drinking wine." Keely looked up and calmly said, "Mark, would you rather I drink milk and ski like an American?" Well, times have changed for American ski racers. Ask Bodie Miller and Tommy Moe and Ted Ligety. Ask Tamara McKinney. Ask Peekaboo Street. Ask ageless Lindsey Vonn, second in the World Cup finals, Super G in Sun Valley a week ago. Ask Debbie and Coop and Phil and Steve, and be sure to ask Michaela Schifrin. 101 wins, and she's not done. And before you go skiing next time, drink a glass of milk. Speaking of drinking, I did an all-night voiceover in St. Anton in 1981. We worked from our unheated announce booth at the downhill finish line, and it was quite cold that night. One of the race sponsors had placed a bottle of schnapps in our chilly booth. About midnight, we had the first of many sips. Around 2 a.m., coming out of a commercial break, I said, "Welcome back to St. Anton. We are high in the Austrian Alps." The most prolific champion among men was Sweden's Ingemar Stenmark, with 86 World Cup triumphs. Interviewing Stenmark was a formidable task. He hated talking to the media. Nonetheless, he agreed to an interview with me following his final victory. "Is there something you are looking forward to in your life after ski racing?" I asked Stenmark. He grinned as he responded, "I won't have to do any more interviews." His answer was just 7 words long. It was the longest answer he had ever given me. At the Nagano Olympics, I was standing no more than 75 feet below where Hermann Maier crashed in the men's downhill. I watched with disbelief as he soared through the air, upside down, then slammed into the slope and tumbled violently through 3 layers of fencing. I thought he would never get up. 3 days later, he won the Super G. Incredible. Hermann Maier was a brick mason by trade, but he built himself into a man made of steel. It's a requirement for great ski racers, I think. Ski racers embrace gravity, but gravity does not always embrace them. I have witnessed crashes that ended careers and worse. A sports announcer cannot please everyone, but there is a rule that should be followed, whether you are writing a story, filming a movie, or calling a race. Give your audience a reason to care. Care about the event, care about the course and the conditions, care about every racer and every turn and every finish, and do it with passion. An audience that does not care will not watch for long. An announcer without passion will not work for long. I have so many memories, skiing memories, and they will last forever in the happiest corners of my mind. But they are not all tied to racing and my life in television. Over 78 years, I have skied 3,000 days and made 3 million turns across continents at all compass points. I learned rotation, split rotation, counter rotation, and no rotation turning techniques. I've skied on wood and steel and aluminum and materials I can't name, laminated, glued, honeycombed, hollow, straight and long, short, and shaped. I've worn boots made of leather and plastic with laces and buckles, wool and foam, low and high, hard and flexible, and I've had them stiffened, softened, punch pressed, foamed, stretched, and canted. For 60 years, I never wore a helmet. Frostbite has gnawed on my fingers so many times, I can barely button a shirt. And I assure you it's true because it took me 15 minutes to get this damn button up here done. I've reached mountaintops on rope tows and poma lifts and T-bars and chairs for 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and 8, and gondolas and helicopters. But I miss the contemplative ascents I made on Aspen's old #1 single chairlift. 20 minutes all to myself, surrounded by alpine magnificence. And I miss the private conversations that one could have on a slow 2-seater chairlift. I've skied with strangers and lovers, with friends and family, and alone. I've been caught in an avalanche. I've taken injured people down in a toboggan and heard their pain. I've taught beginners and seen their delight. Metal holds my knees together and my pelvis and one shoulder. Dr. Stedman gave me a punch card. But I pinch myself. I pinch myself for my good fortune to live a skier's life, a mountain life, an amazing life. Thank you for this honor. Thank you for your friendship and love. I wish you all the joy that I have found in life. Look for it in freshly fallen snow. Find it in every turn you make. Inhale it on the wings of cold, crisp mountain air. Feel it rise from the dancing flames of a skiing lodge fireplace. Create new memories every time you descend a slope. In the end, memories are all we have, and my memories of tonight will be first among them. Thank you.